What business should I start? That's one of the most common questions people ask me when they're thinking about starting a business. And I think they're hoping I'll tell them something incredibly intelligent, like start a cleaning company or a pressure washing business or an online store or a landscaping company. And if you just randomly search online, you'll probably find thousands of lists telling you exactly that. And I'll tell you what, most of them are wrong because choosing a trendy business from a list is one of the worst ways to start a business if you're in it for the long haul. So, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why choosing a business this way usually fails, how to reframe your thinking to ensure your next business has the best chance for success, and how to narrow down the right opportunity specifically for you. Oh, and I'll teach you the trick experienced entrepreneurs use to approach this decision that is very different from a newbie. Hi, I'm Matt. I've spent over 25 years building companies as a serial entrepreneur and helping small business owners navigate challenges and avoid costly mistakes. Here at BST, we talk about the real side of entrepreneurship, especially before your first dollar and during the first few years of building a business. Hey, are you thinking about starting a business? What kind are you considering right now? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear about them. The reason people struggle with the "what business should I start" question is actually kind of simple. They're searching for how to choose the right business to start, but the real answer usually has very little to do with a list of industries or trends or franchises. I think we all want an idea that will make money, grow fast, and have the least risk. And somehow it should magically fit into our lifestyle. But here's the reality. That's different for everyone because there is no perfect business. Every business worth building is going to come with stress and uncertainty and learning curves and probably a lot of unexpected problems. The real goal isn't to find a generic perfect business. It's to find a business that fits you well enough that you're still willing to solve problems in it years from now, because that's what running a business actually is: solving problems. I promised in the beginning to share a trick that experienced business owners use. So here it is. They don't start by choosing a business model or an industry or a trend. They start by choosing a problem that needs a solution, because businesses exist to solve problems. Let's face it, customers don't buy landscaping or accounting or home inspections or new software. They buy relief from a problem. It's a messy yard that's embarrassing. It's a confusing tax situation that's losing them sleep. Maybe it's a leaking roof and the mold and the issues that occur if it's not fixed. Maybe it's just a process that's wasting time. So instead of asking, "what business should I start?" experienced entrepreneurs ask a different question. What problems do I understand well enough to solve? That shift changes everything. Once you start thinking about problems instead of industries and trends, the next step becomes clear. Now you need to figure out how those problems and solutions actually fit your life. Another mistake people make is looking at only the market. They search for things like trending businesses and fast-growing industries, low startup cost businesses, but they forget to look at something just as important: their own life. Your business has to fit your schedule and your family situation, your financial tolerance, and your personality. The business idea that instantly popped into my head was an event planning business, planning weddings and parties and, things like that. It could be a solid opportunity with a lot of potential. And while some of the work is flexible as far as when you can do it, some of it happens nights and weekends, probably most of it. If you've got kids and family commitments, or you just value your weekends for downtime, that business may look great on paper, but it may not fit your life. So before you go from idea to first dollar, the smartest thing you can do is choose something that fits the stage of life that you're in, not just a market opportunity. And that leads to another advantage experienced entrepreneurs have. They rarely start from scratch. They usually start with something they already understand. A lot of people think entrepreneurship requires a brilliant new idea, but most successful small businesses start much simpler. They start with their existing skills and experience and maybe even their existing relationships. Sometimes the best business to start is simply something you already understand better than most people. Maybe it's part of your job. Maybe it's something you've done for years. Maybe it's something you've helped friends or family with dozens of times. If you're still in the idea phase, starting with familiarity dramatically reduces your risk because you're not learning the industry and running a business at the same time. You already understand how the work actually happens. Once you identify a problem you understand and a market that you can reach, there's one more step before committing. You gotta test it. You don't immediately quit your job, build a website, and invest thousands of dollars. I know it sounds too simple, but there's a much smarter way to start. You thoroughly test the idea. If you've watched some of my other episodes on this channel, you've heard me talk about something I call a 30-day pressure test. Probably sick of hearing me talk about my 30-day pressure test. When a new business idea shows up, instead of announcing it to the world, I spend about a month quietly testing it alone. I'm looking at things like, is there a real customer? Do people actually care about this problem? Does the math make sense? And do I still have the energy to pursue it, after a few weeks? Do I have the passion? Before you ramp up investments and commitments, your job is to pressure test the idea against reality. Because the goal isn't just to fall in love with the idea. The goal is to find out if the idea can even survive contact with the real world. So all of that leads us back to the original question. What business should I start? Experienced entrepreneurs usually don't answer that question directly. You know that by now. Instead, they ask kind of additional questions to make it simple. What problems do I understand? Who needs help with those problems? And does solving that problem fit the life I'm trying to build? When all of those pieces line up, the business idea usually reveals itself. Maybe not as some brilliant once-in-a-lifetime invention, but as a practical opportunity that works. Works for your situation, works for your customers, and works for the goals you're actually trying to achieve. If you're asking yourself, what business should I start? Don't make the rookie mistake of trying to pick the perfect industry or whatever's trending. Experienced entrepreneurs approach this question differently. They start by asking, what problem can I solve well enough that someone will pay for it? What do I know and fully understand that I can provide relief for someone else? Then they build a business around that. If you're still at the idea phase, that mindset will save you an enormous amount of time and frustration because the goal isn't to find the perfect idea. It's to find a real problem you can solve for real customers. And when you do all that, the pieces just start falling into place. If you're thinking about starting a business, what do you think? What kind are you thinking right now? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to discuss them with you. And if you found this helpful, I'd really love a like and a subscribe. And remember, building a business is rarely easy, but if you approach it thoughtfully, I think it can be one of the most rewarding things you ever do. Now, take a breath. You've got this. All right, what's next?